Hello guys, my name is Abyssle, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. It's been a while. It's been since September since I played. It's December, like 4th now. So yeah, it's been a long time. I've been busy with other games, as you can see, but I've had 2 4-hour sessions. This will be the second 4-hour session that I get this weekend to record, and I've been using it to catch up on old games that have been on hiatus, because now they're gonna get recorded. But anyway, without further ado, we should get back into this. It feels good to be back. Whew. I quietly back out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. That's right, we just met Feet Girl. I remember Feet Girl. She's the same name as my computer, I believe. My computer's name is Rin. Yeah, that's right. From inside, I hear a muffled, sing-song voice. I heard that. What did she hear? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow, she had gotten to jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof, as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No wait, more importantly, who's in there? There's no club meeting today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? It took so long that we had to come check. What's wrong? That's no good, Hik-chan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you were tardy. Oh, sorry. I got the things here. Was just gonna bring them. Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading this morning. I apologize. I think you were up to some mischief, Hik-chan. Who's in there with you, I wonder? Misha signed something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she's experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, so does Wrinkle. Frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello. Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with half-interested, half-sleepy face. I like her. She's... I really do like her, actually. Hello. ... Miss Tezuka, what do you think you're doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such a disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune/Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulders, pointing at Rin, and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how's your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly. apparently at ease under the pressure the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. And we'll think about it harder. I love her. Oh my god. Yes. She's slightly a spirit animal. This attitude is wonderful. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't. Not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the treating student council duo. How rude. It's true though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There'll be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what projects she has and what are those apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks slightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure, where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, me and the paint can following, since there's little choice left for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Misha gone, so we too leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching, or maybe I am walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me, because obviously it's me he had some business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of a handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long... God. Excuse me a moment. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current... Since you haven't been that long? That sounds weird. Anyway, on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosage or even changing to another kind of medication. So we will do a few tests regularly. But what I'd want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. And come and see me if something happens. Alright? So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too, teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seemed to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except for this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you've taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such, I just happen to know a few people. But that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sort of sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back as if it was never gone. Shizuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which she didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand. You are still in your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to take. Fuck, I'm gonna redo that. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Fuck, alright. If we're basing it off my character, like my characteristics and shit, I'm gonna be very just against people. But that's not because I hate people, it's because I don't really care about myself. So... Alrighty, but at the same time, I'm not going to be so against people that I won't promise them to do something if it's extremely important. So, and to me also, a promise is like a bound oath thing. Promises are very important to me. Extremely important. It's like a blood bond sort of deal for me. It's intense. So, yeah, I'll promise it. Yeah, I promise. Definitely. He studies me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rin, who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? Comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out at her. But even so, I don't really want to start thinking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. Sigh. Or, if you want me to act it out. I don't know why this is so hard for me. Feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah. They're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Ren keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further, nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings out about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Rin leads us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at a small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground, with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of brick as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall. But some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class aren't helping with the negative spaces and the base surface whenever, which is a problem. Are helping with... Wait. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there is a lot of people with hands. The reach is better and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent, waving a little with her arm or whatever of it there actually is to demonstrate, even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student's base's special properties has in the past few days. The girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already and just keeps blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there's something I need to figure out, and then figure out that before it's too late and all hope is lost. How would hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So this is your project? You did this? Yes, yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into a minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, he can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't know what would be the right thing to say, if any. Feels that I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See? I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? I'm good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist. But seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat, you know, flat. Like some people are, no substance, no meat. Or there should be some. I know a few girls who... I get it. Oh man, was that a breast thing? Anyway. Okay, I get it. But I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms. Well, without further ado, that's the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. And hopefully we'll get closer to Feet Girl, or I'll go jogging. But yeah, this is Abyssle signing out. Peace out, my voidlings. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, or do whatever the fuck you want to do. And I'll see you in the next episode. Also, my Facebook and Twitter shit are in the description, the description down below. Don't forget to follow me on those. Because updates, news, and stuff, and friendly chats. Alright, I'll let you guys go. Bye-bye. Boop!